Welcome back. You're with us here on Pulse. Now, reports suggest that India is set to overtake the US in internet user base by the end of this calendar year, making it the second largest base for internet users in the world. But it's those without access that provide the bigger opportunity for titans like Facebook and Google. Rajan Anand and the VP and MD Southeast Asia and India at Google joining us to talk about what Google is doing in India to tap this big opportunity. Rajan, thank you so much for joining us today. How is India changing as a market that consumes the internet? Is it moving more towards mobile? What are some of the trends that you've observed?
Yeah, so India already has over 300 million internet users, and we're adding over 6 million new internet users every month. Of the over 300 million users, only 100 million of them are actually access the internet through a desktop or a notebook. So already well over 200 million internet users access the internet only through a mobile device. And 100% of the growth in the Indian internet is coming from mobile devices. So 6 million new users added every month, and 100% of those users actually are accessing the internet through a mobile device. India's internet today already is really all about mobile, and the growth going forward is also all about mobile.
What about your investments then, Rajan? In line with that, will you be looking at changing your investment strategy, or is it too early for you to take a look at a call, given, of course, the contribution of mobile?
Yeah, so, we are very focused on bridging the gap, right? If you think about India, a country of 1.2 billion people, only over, less than 400 million people on the internet today, over 300 million, less than 400 million. So we have really another 800 to 850 million Indians that we need to bring online, right? And our entire strategy is around bridging this gap. How do we get the next 100 million, the next 200 million, the next 400 million users online? And to do that, we really need to address a number of very significant barriers, right? We need to make sure that the Indic internet or the Indian language internet really emerges, blossoms, and then blooms, right? So only 200 million out of the 1.2 billion Indians speak English. So basically all of India's internet really is going to be a non-English internet. And up until a year ago, even accessing the internet, if you're a Hindi speaker, was quite difficult, right? The keyboards didn't work as well. Voice recognition in Hindi didn't work. Discovery was difficult because there were very few sort of high quality open source Hindi fonts. There wasn't a lot of Hindi content online, etc. So triggered off that, we actually created the Indian Language Internet Alliance. It's Google. It's a number of the largest publishers, non-English publishers in the country. It's the government CDC. It's a set of niche technology providers, etc. And we've systematically gone after addressing all the barriers associated with the Indian language internet, right? So we launched very high quality Hindi keyboards. We've launched a voice, speech recognition in Hindi. There are now dozens of high quality open source fonts in Hindi, etc.
Right. Rajan, in terms of a percentage contribution from India to emerging markets, say Europe and Asia, how large will it become as you see it in about 10 years?
Yeah, so look, we don't talk about specific revenue contributions, but what I can tell you is from a user standpoint, right? There are 3.5 billion internet users in the world. Over 300 million of them come from India, right? So there are, over, let's say, about 2 billion, smartphone users. India already has 150 million smartphone users. India is the fastest growing internet market in the world in terms of absolute number of new users that are being added to the internet every month. So from every different dimension that you can look at, whether it's number of users, whether it's usage on such specific products, search, social, video, etc., or you look at the absolute growth of the internet. I mean, India now is front and center in the global internet industry.
Is your addition as far as people go going to be in line with the kind of revenue increase and the growth you see here?
We have about 2,000 people here in India, Googlers who are in India, and outside of the US, it's one of our largest locations. And the exciting thing about India is we have, all our range of functions, from sales, marketing, business development, product development, engineering, etc., and operations, a very large operations team. So we were very excited about India. We're very committed to India. I think, look, our focus really is around bridging the gap, right? What excites us, what gets us up in the morning is this whole question about how do we get 1 billion Indians online, right? And we're going to do everything possible that Google can be doing to actually make sure we work with the entire ecosystem to bridge the gap and to get 1 billion Indians online.
Rajan, thanks so much for joining us and talking us through some of those latest trends as you're observing. We need to take a very quick break. When we come back, the ECB's additional easing failing to impress markets. More on that in just a moment.
The monthly purchases of